Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas. Praz, how you doing today?
Mate, has there been a deadline so far this year where there've been so many dilemmas? At least in my head, I haven't stopped thinking about FPL for the last 24 hours since those League Cup injuries and the massacre of Man City, all of that happened. So I'm confused, man. So you're gonna help
Which
me.
is which is good. Well, I've got loads
Yeah.
of dilemmas as every week I always do, so you're gonna have to help me as well. So we're in perfect position then, Praz, because like you, I've got dilemmas all over the all over the team. You're gonna
But
see
you've
it in a
been
minute.
smashing it, haven't you? Like you've had a good couple of weeks.
Nah, I don't know about that, but I think I've just about got by. I think you had a better week. We're gonna when we put my team up, we'll talk about this week. We'll mention last week as well, but I don't think I had as good as week because you had Saka.
I mean, I played triple. Oh yeah, you didn't have.
I played triple captain as well, Praz. We both
You
did.
did. You
So I
did.
went for it in the end. I went for it, and it wasn't. What was your actual? In fact, let's just get stuck straight into it. What did you finish with score wise?
71.
There you go. I finished with 64 with a
Okay.
triple captain. Because the difference is, I had Foden, you had Saka. So,
And I had Edison.
oh yeah, he finally kept a clean sheet. That was
Yeah.
actually incredible. He must have been celebrating that, yeah. But
I mean, that's why the triple captain was not so bad because Edison came through.
he came through. Yeah, it was, well, yeah, it's a good talking point. But for me, it was just about, I've not been smashing it, unfortunately. I'm hoping soon to be, but we're going to see. We're going to get straight into it, in fact, because this, as you said, there's so much to unpick. Let's have a look at my team. Sales against West Ham. Sales has been a bit of a star for me, Praz, since
Got
the
you the
11th
assist
and the
last game?
assist.
Oh,
How
what a
about
legend.
that? I mean, yeah,
Wasn't
he
an
actually,
assist, but sure. Okay.
come on, Praz. Don't get onto the phone to let them take it away. I was actually, can I be honest with you, Praz? I was concerned they were going to take it away.
Dude, not enough people cared, so we didn't make the phone calls, so
Okay,
it's okay.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I'm glad because
Yeah.
I'm in desperate situation here. So I was worried. I didn't celebrate it. I was like, let me just wait until they lock this game week up. But yeah, so Sales, good pick. He's one of the few good picks I've had this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously it's a double blank, but there were two horrid fixtures, Chelsea and Arsenal. So yeah, fair play. But he's got a good fixture this week, I think, at home. And then we got Gabriel, first yellow flag, first potential dilemma that we should talk about as well. Praz, and then we've got Lewis. So that's the back four. Lewis, like you got double City defense. Lewis, hopefully, on for another clean sheet against Bournemouth. I'd be more than, we'll take that. Rodgers in midfield. What's his name? And Mbumo, Palmer, and Foden. So Foden is still here, Praz. Another person I want to talk to you about in my team. And then up top, we've got Raul Jimenez, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Massive talking point between for all FPL managers, and then Haaland, who is another talking point. Maybe not for me. We'll find out regarding your team if he's a massive talking point as well. On the bench, Flappy, who wasn't who never played, but has recently started to play. Then we got Semenyo, Mikalenko, and Greaves, who is third sub, red flagged. So that's the team for this week, Praz. And we'll go through top to bottom. Let's deal with the yellow flag with Gabriel. It sounds like from yesterday's game, obviously we're filming this on Thursday night, ready for Friday morning. It sounds like he's going to be fit. But I mean, obviously it's Arteta speaking here, so we have to take that with a pinch of salt. But it sounded like he was almost ready for the midweek fixture if they needed him.
That's what we heard. But the problem is we don't know like who has tweeted this, what do they know? Like nobody has been clued up on Arsenal all season. So I'm going to be assuming that Gabriel is fine. And much like most teams, you have a good first sub. So I would not worry about Gabriel at all, unless he's essentially ruled out, which Arteta won't do. So I'm planning to keep him regardless.
And on that point, actually, so you're planning to keep him. You've already answered that. I was going to say, would you consider removing him if he is out for I know we've got 2 games and then an international break and then back. I know long run we're always going to want an Arsenal defender because they've had a tricky time recently, but we know they'll get back to keeping clean sheets. So it'll just be a transfer back in. But for someone like me who's looking for potential funds to go from Foden to Saka eventually, do you reckon that would be a good avenue? Or no, you think get the money from somewhere else?
No, I think you have to keep Gabriel. Like you don't even have Raya, man. Like people are going to be over 100% EO on Arsenal from game week 12 onwards. I mean, maybe even now. Maybe less so now because Raya people are starting to sell Raya, which I'm
Yeah,
happy to see because I want him to come to 5.5 so I can buy him. Um, but I would not go without Arsenal defense. Like nothing has changed in this season that changes our belief that they're a top two defense.
yeah,
Like if anything, more so, they're the best defense. Maybe Liverpool are matching them,
yeah.
but there's no reason to say that they're not great. And so I think Gabriel's still great price.
I'm totally in agreement with you there. So I'm glad that's almost one dilemma down because I'm gonna keep him and play him. So, and I
Yeah,
was thinking, even if Arteta actually gave us information and said he's out for like say 2 weeks, I'll still keep him because just play Mikalenko, and after international break, hopefully he'll be back.
yeah, yeah.
So that's my
Agreed.
take there. So going into midfield with my team, Praz, pretty comfortable with it. The one noticeable difference, which you made that transfer last week, which was smart, was Saka. Obviously, I don't own him. I went Foden. I took a gamble. Perez, I used
Mm.
triple transfers last week. So I bought in Foden, bought in Raul Jimenez. So really, they're the two. But
I mean, Raul worked out really well in the sense that he blanked, but now people want him. Like this week, he's rising in price. He's got a great fixture. And if I did, when I come to my team, he would be the striker I would pick this week.
interesting. Okay, because we've got a little section, something to discuss regarding the cheap strikers, actually.
Hmm.
So let's go back to Foden from my position. So at one stage, I was actually panicking about this move, Perez. I remember me and you discussed this 2 weeks, and you was almost from the, if you're going to go for it, commits to it. His
Yep.
minutes should be okay. And that week he actually only played. He came on as a sub and got the assist against Wolves.
Got the assist,
Since
yeah.
then, he played 90 minutes though, Praz, which is positive. So that's really good. And now what you said at the start of the show, they've been decimated by injuries. Now, am I right in saying he has to start this weekend, Praz?
Oh, he's definitely starting. I don't think there's any doubt. Like, look, Savinho, last night we thought he's like stretchered off.
Yeah.
But today the indications are that it's fine, like it's nothing. So look, the thing is that you have Nunes playing on the left, you have Savinho playing on the right, you have Gundo, Bernardo Silva, Foden, and Kovacic fighting for 3 spots, or I would say Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and Foden fighting for 2 spots. But if then Savinho is out, Bernardo Silva goes to the right, then it's
Yeah.
basically Foden and Gundo. Like there's no other choice. De
Yeah.
Bruyne's not fit, Rodri's not fit, so that's where we are. So
go on.
Foden
Finish, Praz.
starting, whether you want him or not long term is another question.
So that was going to be the follow-up bit, actually. So I'm, again, agreeing with you. I think he starts, which is positive, and I think the fixture's good.
Yeah.
Man City this season, I know they've been strange in it. We're talking about a team that's top of the league, and they're not flying, if that makes sense, on the pitch, especially attack-wise. And I've tripled up on City, shows my commitment on them. But Phil Foden, I could, in theory, this week do a -4 to move him to Saka, but that was one thing I was actually considering. But I'm thinking, no, give Foden this game week at least and build up that transfer price.
Yep.
And then later on, I can make that decision. I don't think it's as urgent. Yes, I know Saka. We saw what he done to Liverpool. Obviously, I didn't enjoy watching that. It was an amazing goal. But Foden, he was unlucky. Did you see the game? He should have got an assist, and he should have scored as well. So he was actually very,
and he would have assisted our triple captain.
Exactly that, Prez. That's it. I know. And it's been that sort of season for me at the moment. I just sat there and I was just laughing. I was like, oh, God. But so that was the potential midfield dilemma. I've got nothing else. I'm quite happy. Even with Rodgers, the fixture, the matchup against Spurs, I think that's not too bad at all. The way Spurs are playing this season, especially now they've had that big injury to their main centre-back. That's one of the big discussion points from midweek fixture. You saw him. He's a big loss to them. So I'm happy about that. So moving up top then, Praz. Raul Jimenez must transfer last week. If you saw his statistics and how well he played, he should have returned there. But like you said, it's almost one step ahead because this week he'll be very popular.
Yep.
Good fixture, good player. Okay. So no dilemma there. I'm more than happy with him. The next player though, Praz, is someone we both have. And he is a dilemma because he is underperforming. It's obvious, obviously, we've not had a return from him. So we're going to be looking at him with scrutiny. But the reality is he actually came off last week as well. Normally, at least he's clicking up the 90 minutes. That's a big tick. And the substitute who came on scored, Prez. So do you think that's a big impact on him? I mean, we've started to create a narrative for ourselves here that he might not even start. Is that just nonsense?
I think it's largely nonsense. I think he should start. But look, they start until they don't start, right? So we have nothing to back saying he won't start. This week, if he doesn't, then we'll be saying, yeah, okay, now he won't start. So until it happens, I can't say. But look, here's what I'll say. Looking at your team, a lot of people are saying, I want 3 midfielders. I want 3 beautiful midfielders going forward. Beautiful strikers going forward. And there's so many cheap strikers. I want Chris Wood, I want Cunha, I want all the good stuff. But then they also have midfielders. They have Rodgers, they have Semenyo. And what happens is from next week, like after next week, Rodgers and Semenyo have good fixtures throughout. Like you don't have to necessarily bench one of those two. You can actually start playing both of them. Like look at game week 12 onwards. Who does our friend where is Roger? Where is Bournemouth? Bournemouth play Brighton at home.
Yep.
Right. So you'll happily play him. And where is Rodgers? Rodgers plays Crystal Palace at home. So even if, let's say, Calvert-Lewin doesn't play, right? You get 2 games out of him or he's disappointed. He's not an urgent sell. You don't have to use a transfer on him immediately. Because the way I see it, it's not the end of the world. If, I just need 2 games. So I don't need a Cunha in that slot because then you'll give yourself benching headaches in game week 12, in game week 14, game week 15.
But you say that, Pras, but if he's that, okay, I get your point. But if Cunha is, or say Woods, for example, just have a look here. I'll put a little graphic here. It's just, these are all the cheap strikers, Wood being the most expensive. We're saying keep faith with DCL. That's what we've committed to obviously to this, since our wild card, we've committed to giving all of these fixtures, but he has, look, hardly any returns. These statistics, if you go back, this is taking all of the season so far, are not bad with shot ratios and attempts and all the good stuff. But the reality is he's not returning, where someone like Chris Woods is punishing us. It's more than a 30 points difference, Praz. I know it's easy to say this now in hindsight. Everything's easy, but just even looking forward with someone like Cunha, if you saw his performance, was it last week? The amount of attempts and chances, he's clicking in the numbers. You can see why he's very popular and also tempting for someone like me who's got DCL, watching him every week.
I hear you. Look, no, I'm not saying that they're bad options, but what I'm trying to tell you is from game week 12, like I'm asking you to hold him, he may score points or he may not score points. The player you get in may score points, may not score points. But from game week 12, if you go back to the fixture ticker, there are players that will open up from 12 that could be other options. Like from game week 12, we know that Newcastle have a great run. So Isak comes into the equation, right? He has West Ham at home, Crystal Palace. Liverpool is also home after this, Brentford. And then after that is also a good run. Look at Watkins. Like people have forgotten about Watkins. We've just talked about Rodgers having good fixtures. Well, Watkins is the same. Look at Jackson. Like people will start looking at Jackson because they play Leicester in game week 12. So what I'm saying is, yes, there's a clamor this week to get cheap strikers. In game week 12, there'll be a clamor to get mid-price strikers. So if you use up your transfers this week, all I'm trying to tell you is that maybe you will think, oh, I should have used it in game week 12 because there are other strikers that also open up. So right now everybody wants Cunha and it looks great, but Crystal Palace is not. It's not Ipswich. It's not Southampton. It's not Leicester. It's Crystal Palace. Wolves can lose that game. In fact, the market odds, if you go to Rob T, Wolves are expected to score 1.3 goals.
Yeah.
So this is not Spurs versus Ipswich that you need Son. So I think there needs to be a little bit of calm with Wolves players. In fact, this is why you have the best cheap striker this week, which is Jimenez. Fulham have 1.8 expected goals against Brentford. Now that's meaningful. That means that if there's going to score a couple of goals, Jimenez is going to be involved in one of them, or should be involved in one of them. If you look at the striker odds, if you look at the market, the other slide that Rob T does, Raul Jimenez is up there, 0.52. Wood is up there with 0.5.
Woods,
Where is Cunha?
Nowhere to be seen.
So I'm not saying Cunha is a bad option. Next week, Cunha plays Southampton. But what I'm saying is you don't have to do that transfer this week. You can wait a week. Let DCL play Southampton, because look, what are Everton's odds? 1.4.
It's higher. It's actually higher. Yeah.
So I'm just saying patience. It's okay if he rises for 0.1. It's all right. Just make your transfer next week if you have to.
Well, that's good because that's the position in my head at the moment. At the start of the week, Praz, if you asked me, I think they'll still, sometimes when it's the game week just finishes and it's still a bit fresh in your head, you're like, oh God, I can't wait to get rid of him. But since the game week, as we get closer to the deadline, I'm more in that position. I'm not urgent. It's not desperate times to remove him. I mean, it'd be different if we had assurance that DCL's not going to start. Okay, that changes things. But like this, like you said, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
So that was the other dilemma I had. And Haaland, captaincy, the reason I want to speak to you about him as well. Now, there's a big movement now, Pras. I think me and you had a little chat about this last week, a big movement about people getting rid of him because of what you can achieve with that money.
Yeah.
Now, I'm still not committing to that. I'm more than happy with him. In fact, he's my captain for this week. And if we look at where are we? Let's go back here. Manchester City look above 2 goals when his involvement's near 30-40% if they're goal attacking for it. So for me, I'm comfortable with that. I've got no issues of moving him out for now. What your take on that, Pras?
It's the $1 million question, man.
Mm.
Or it's a $15.4 million question. How many free transfers do you have?
Only one. That's it.
Yeah. So people with one free transfer, you can sleep easy because you can, you're like, for a hit, I'm not taking out Haaland for a hit. Like, just it's not ideal. So for people like me with 2 free transfers, we're thinking you can do Haaland to, let's say, Raul Jimenez. You can do Cunha. I would do Raul Jimenez if I was going there this week. And then go Rodgers all the way up to Salah and still keep like 3 million as change.
I know.
So you keep that 3 million. Next week, you can use it for Pinnock to Trent. You can use it for, let's say, Semenyo to Bruno Fernandes if Man United look very good. You can use it for Calvert-Lewin to Watkins. Like, these are massive upgrades.
Huge.
So basically, you're thinking there is value here that if you did it, especially in a week where Haaland and Salah are similar in captaincy, like the expected points, actually Salah is slightly higher. Their goal odds, if you go back to Rob T's slide, is pretty much bang on the same. Next one. So Haaland 0.81, Salah 0.71, but Salah gets 5 points for a goal. Clean sheet odds are higher. So then basically net, Salah slightly more in terms of expected points. So thinking that long term, my structure means that I don't want Haaland, I want a Salah, and just get it done in the week then when Salah is the optimal captain. Problem is next week, Salah plays home to Aston Villa, which is not as ideal.
No.
And Haaland is away to Brighton, which is also the fixture we're fearing this week for Salah.
Yeah.
So it's not so clear cut because Haaland again is good next week. There's no need to take Haaland out. So I don't have an answer, man. Unfortunately, we're supposed to come to Deadline Dilemmas and have an answer. Like I keep going back and forth because then I'll read out my team, which is Edison in goal, Ait Nouri, Gabriel, and Rico Lewis. So like you, I'm going to play Gabriel and not worry about it. If Pinnock comes on, that's okay. And then Bumo, Rogers, Saka, Palmer, Calvert-Lewin, Solanke, Haaland. So basically Solanke instead of your Raul Jimenez. And Trent instead of your Ait Nouri.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's where we are.
And
basically our more expensive players. Yeah, basically our more expensive players are probably worse. Because Ait Nouri home to Crystal Palace versus Trent home to Brighton. I know. Trent is still better, but still. So I can do Haaland out to get Salah and then basically work around it. But the problem is that next week I want Solanke out. The week after I want Calvert-Lewin out. I also want to do Edison to Raya. So I'm running out of transfers to fix this team. And those are the fixes. Like I'm happy with the midfield generally. Like I wouldn't need to move any of the 5 midfielders out for the foreseeable future. So it's really my strikers that I need to move around and my keeper. So this is the dilemma in my head. Like, can I go Haaland to Salah or can I just leave it? Now, the reason I'm not going to do anything tonight, and obviously people who are listening to this will be listening to it after in the afternoon of Friday. I won't have done any transfers because I'm waiting for any spanner. Like if Solanke is out, then I can do Solanke down to maybe a Cameron Archer and then Saka up to Salah for free. So
that Solanke press, he's been disappointing, hasn't he? He's been very
one
disappointing.
Of those picks. But I like these picks, People lose faith and then they do well in the fixture that you got them for. Like they're allowed to score points. Like they will score goals, and it's not like Solanke has become Vicario. Like he can be involved.
But his shot volume is like, I mean, Spurs as a team attacking, loads of attacking output, good numbers. But he's not been that great. I'm not quite sure. I've read a couple of articles and listened to a couple of other podcasts, people saying that his role might have changed in his team and what he's doing. But
I have no
Not
doubt.
ideal. Yeah, not ideal at all for a. He's more, especially when you see, like we spoke about earlier, perhaps all of the cheap strikers putting in good good shifts, and he's a bit more expensive, so he's been bit more frustrating actually.
He is. He has. I mean, look, West Ham have been absolutely rubbish all season. Lost 3-0 to Chelsea. Lost plenty of other games. Drew with Fulham.
Yeah,
Got thrashed by Man City. They
and
show
they
up.
beat someone recently, Praz. They beat someone recently.
Who did they beat? Ipswich.
Um,
Scored 4 goals.
and they beat someone else
Who
as
does
well.
Solanke play next week?
Ipswich.
So I'm not talking about who else they beat. Our manager is gone. You can't pick on Man United now. At least until the new manager joins.
I tried to get it out of you there, but yeah, fair play.
So what I'm trying to say is playing home to Ipswich gets people to score points, and so
Yeah.
there is no harm in keeping Solanke. I would only take him out if he's genuinely like out. So that's where I would sort of err towards, and like I wish I could do Solanke to Raul Jimenez and Saka up to Salah. I would probably do that if I could with 2 free transfers, but I can't, and so therefore I will probably have to come down to Archer. The thing with Archer is Archer covers me Semenyo this week.
Yeah.
And you saw how high up Archer is,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
go to Rob T's slide. He's like supposed to be on pens. I don't know if he'll get pens or not, but he's likely to start. I've spoken
Yeah.
to a few Southampton fans. So he's on 0.48, more than Watkins.
Exactly.
Almost the same as Palmer, more than Jackson. So that's not bad. And more than any of the Wolves guys. So it's an option. Like I would probably not do it unless Solanke is genuinely Postecoglou says that Solanke looked very tired and he's going to miss this game. I won't do it, but that's an option. But likely what I'm going to do is either Haaland to Salah in a double move, or I will do nothing and I will just roll my free transfer.
So when you say Praz, you're very, I was going to use the word stubborn, very strict. You keep to your plan because obviously you've got 2 strikers there who are underperforming, and the temptation this week to go to one of the other ones. But you're just sticking to your plan, or is it combination of you sticking to your plan, or you're just looking forward, like you said, because you want those transfers so you can do the potential big ones like Salah and.
I mean, I just want to time my transfers properly. Solanke and Calvert-Lewin will not be in my team in Game Week 13.
Okay,
but
so they will be.
I want them
by then.
I want them to play Southampton this week, which is Calvert-Lewin, and I want Solanke to play Ipswich, which is next week. So I'm not going through, that meme where I think you posted that meme. The guy's digging, and then he turns back, and then you realize that actually just as he reached the gold, he decided to give up. So Southampton is a gold fixture. Like you could make an FPL strategy between now and the end of the season to maximize the number of players that play Southampton and Ipswich.
Agree.
Why would I lose it? Like we
Yeah.
have this very good recency bias that okay, Southampton, Calvert-Lewin is rubbish, Cunha is amazing. It's a one game against Southampton, and Cunha is not going to score 55 points that you will miss out and your season will finish.
No chance.
Wait a week, breathe.
I mean, especially Praz, when you add that you saw, I mean, we're giving DCO a lot of stick here, but you saw the unlucky, he scored a goal. It was disallowed. I know it's offside. Was it the week before or 2 weeks before? He got
this
the penalty.
Week?
Was it this? It could have been so different, Praz. And like you said, we won't be even here entertaining, or loads of us managers won't be even here entertaining this chat of a cheap striker because our cheap striker delivered. It's only because, like you said, small margins haven't gone our way with DCO. In your case, hasn't gone your way with 2 of the forwards, but just I'm in agreement with you. That was one of my big dilemmas, but I think I'm gonna give him this week as well and have the 2 transfers. I think if I was in your situation though, obviously we've got different teams, different setups, I would have possibly moved him on. Yeah, I might be one of those managers right near the gold, and then he delivers that week.
I mean, they well might, but I will lose 10 points maybe over the week. Like if Cunha scores something, Calvert-Lewin blanks, Solanke blanks again, Raul Jimenez does something. Yeah, fair enough, man. I mean, it's okay. We gave up much more than that by losing a goal or 2 by Haaland triple captain this week. So, look,
what do you think about the triple captain press? Just to interrupt you there, did you take that as a fail or success? Obviously, we've been playing FPL for so long. We've had loads of like 1.2 pointers, but we've obviously had the big ones as well. Do you take that as a?
It's a fail if other people get to play it in a double game week. Because if they play it in a double game week, then 4 points is just appearance points, right? So 6 is nothing.
Yeah.
It's an okay, like lukewarm. if other people also play it in a single game week, because 6 EV is not easy. Like 6 expected points is, players blank, right? So you could, other triple captains could blank as well. But I would have liked 10 plus. 10 was my expectation, and we were very close to 10, but it's fine. I think 6 is not the end of the world. I'm still thinking there's going to be only 2 double game weeks this season, and one of them is going to be bench boost for me. One of them could be used for a mystery chip, which could be used for a free hit chip, could be used for a triple captain for those who have left it. I'll tell you though, Man City are out of the Carabao Cup. So Man City themselves, the only double they will have is game week 36, which is the bench boost week. You're not triple captaining Haaland. I can tell you that now. Like whoever has their triple captainship left. Now they will say, I will triple captain Palmer or Salah. Sure, good luck. Like if you get to use the triple captainship in that week and they end up having... So the way that you will get to triple captain Palmer or Salah is basically you want to root for them to make the final of the Carabao Cup, because then that will be a blank in game week 29. Therefore, that will be a double in game week 34 or 33. And so therefore, you can use a triple captainship. We'll be using a mystery chip in that week. I don't know what it is, but it'll probably be useful in a double game week. And we'll be using our bench boost in game week 37. So there is no other week to play the triple captain. For most people, it'll have to be a single game week.
Which, from our perspective, Pras, I'm like you. I've got no regret. I mean, it was unfortunate. He got 2.33 XG. I mean, come on. I think is that the second most XG he's produced since he joined City?
I think I'm sure ever.
Yeah. So that tells us the decision was correct. We were unfortunate. I know people will say but we were unlucky actually. He should have delivered at least another goal. So yeah, and it was pain. You know what made it a bit worse was obviously he missed the big chances. He meant the bonus points went, Pras. They would have came in nice and handy. 2 bonus points, would have made a difference. But
I know. Well, one more goal would have been 3 bonus, I think.
You reckon? Yeah, it would have taken all of So it's quite frustrating. But so in your team, so you've gone through it and you've discussed your strategy. So the only potential for you is whether you save the transfer so you can do the Salah move.
I will use either both my transfers or 0 transfers.
Yeah. What's your percentage of likely, Pras? What are you thinking at the moment? If I was to push you right now, what are you thinking?
I'm 51% selling Haaland.
You are?
I just wrote an article for Scout and I've listed 7 reasons to sell Haaland. And I'm going to look a complete idiot when I don't sell Haaland, right? Let me tell you the 7 reasons. Reason number 1, Man City injuries, right? Like we have seen how many injuries they got last night. They've apparently got 12 fit players, 13 fit players. It's bound to affect you, right? Fatigue will affect you. Same players are going to play week in, week out.
Yes.
Number 1. Like, especially if Savinho's out, like Bernardo Silva on the right and Nunes on the left, and that's not great.
It's a bit makeshift, isn't it, compared to what they normally do?
When you go 2-0 up and you only have 13 fit players, what does Pep tell them? Guys, conserve. Hold the ball. No need to go for 4-0. All right?
Yep.
So that's the reason number 1. Reason number 2, travel. City played yesterday night in London. They went back to Manchester. Where are they playing on Saturday? Bournemouth. So they will be going away to Bournemouth. Then they'll come back to Manchester. Then they go to Lisbon on Tuesday. Then they come back to Manchester. Then they go to Brighton again. Then they come back to Manchester. So it'll be 4 away games in a row for Man City. So that matters, right? Travel starts to add up to the fatigue, starts to travel, basically, again, conservation. They will probably manage minutes. They will, again, after 2-0, shut shop. Like, it's not going to be a game which is going to be a Klopp, high octane. That's not happening. Now, can Haaland still do well in a 2-0? Of course, he can score a brace. So I'm not suggesting that he's bad. I'm just saying if there were 2 home games and if they had KDB fit, it's a different story. So 2 reasons. That is, 1 is injuries, 1 is travel.
No, I was going to say, no, have you got, so that's just 2 reasons. You've got even more. That's
I've got 7.
Wow. So you've actually got a full, did you want to carry on going through them? Yeah.
It's an article. I'm going to actually link it to you in the chat, and maybe we can share it because
put it in the
it's a Scout
description.
article.
Yeah. Put it in the description so we can read it. I need to read that as well. But then Pras. Yeah, good. And I was going to say, but couldn't we flip it the other way? We are talking about the best striker in the world. Like, he scores goals. That's what he does. Okay, so that's one of them. So I'm giving you the devil's advocate now. Everything City does, it goes through him. The second one is we are talking about Manchester City, arguably the best team in the world. Okay, so even with these Man City normally only wake up in February, Praz, but they've actually woken up. They're top of the league now, which is quite ominous for Liverpool and Arsenal. I will say that. Because normally they wake up in February and win 14 games and win the league. But
Yeah.
so Manchester City, Pep Guardiola, Haaland, and yeah, isn't that enough? And also his ownership still might be high, which means if he does do work, he could really be painful. He's also an easy captain. It's a lazy captain where if you go the other way, Praz, you've got a bit more picking. I'm not saying that's an impossible solution, but it's quite a nice option to pick from. Salah, Palmer, or Saka. That's three incredible choices, but you still have that where you start playing a little bit of the roulette. Where with Haaland, you just leave it there. So these are a couple of other.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Those are good reasons, and I'm going to counter some of them by going through my other 5 points.
Okay.
So 2 are Man City related. Now we go to reason number 3, which is the fixture swing. Right. Yeah. So from game week 12, I've talked about the fixture swing for Arsenal, for Brighton, for Chelsea, for Bournemouth. And there are shorter fixture swings for Newcastle and Aston Villa and Manchester United. So basically right now, people are thinking, okay, I can have maybe even Salah and Haaland and Palmer, but you will see the more expensive options start to emerge. So the more budget you can have released, basically this 2 million, 3 million that you'll save by going Haaland to Salah will start working to your advantage, where you can have Trent in addition to Isak, or Jackson in addition to Kai Havertz. Like, these guys will start coming back into the conversation because there's a big fixture swing coming in game week 12. So anyway, for a long time, we've been talking about Haaland needs to go out before game week 12 anyway. Like, or could be going out. Like, a lot of people will start to think that he's not optimal. Like, and by the way, to clarify, he could score the most points between now and then, but because he's 3 million more, Haaland plus Rodgers may not score as many points as a Salah plus Watkins, or a Salah plus a Trent plus Acuna.
Yes.
So that's what we also have to keep in mind. So again, I'm not saying this as truth, because I've already started this conversation with saying I'm only 51% to do it. But I'm going through my reasons. So game week 12 fixture swing, reason number 3. Reason number 4 is captaincy. So your point on Haaland is just an easy, simple captain. I went through Scouts Rate My Team fixture ticker. I also went through FPL Review, and they're very similar. So I'll just talk about the Scout ticker. Game week 10, best captain, Salah by expected points. Second, Haaland. Third, Palmer. Would you agree with this?
Yeah.
Game week 11, best captain, Salah. Number 2, Son. Number 3, Haaland. Would you agree with this?
So Liverpool's got Aston Villa. Game week 11, you said, Pras?
Yep.
And Man City, no, I'd say Haaland's got a better captain.
It's away Brighton, though.
Still, it's Brighton.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Okay, but I would say, both these weeks, it's maybe somewhat close. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Game week 12. Again, Rate My Team has Salah higher, then Haaland. Then Palmer, then Haaland.
Agree.
Even though game week 12 is home to Spurs. Like, that's also a good fixture.
But Liverpool, Southampton, we spoke earlier on, Pras, you could just target them. They're a team that, similar to how West Ham, when you scored a couple of goals against them, they just start collapsing. That's what Southampton do. So, yeah.
So, in the first 3 weeks, Salah is the top captain in all 3. Maybe we can debate that in game week 11, it can be Haaland above. But I'm using facts right now. What is in the model? So, I'm just sharing that. Game week 13, top captain is Palmer, without doubt. Next is Bumo. Third is Son. So, because obviously Man City play Liverpool. So, they are out of the equation.
Yeah, I think that's the game
14.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was going to say that game week there, I totally agree with you. It's Liverpool. So, Haaland, I think a lot of people will shy away from that.
Yeah. Game week 14, Haaland has a good fixture, home to Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest have been decent. So, the top captain is actually Palmer.
Yeah.
Who's away to our favorite, Southampton.
Yeah.
So, Palmer top captain. So, what I'm trying to say is, even if you own Haaland, in game week 12, in game week 14, you'll be captaining Palmer instead anyway, because he's higher than Haaland in those 2 weeks. And then game week 15.
Which most will have though, Praz. So that one there is a bit different, because I think most will have Haaland. That combination between Haaland and Salah might not exist as much, because that's a bit too expensive. But Haaland and Palmer will be. So the weeks where you've mentioned Haaland's one, for example, has got Liverpool, they might have a Palmer or a Saka to offset it. So basically, you're just batting against Yeah, that's it. Basically, so you're batting against Salah, against their either Palmer or Saka, basically, potentially.
Absolutely, but it
Yeah.
also makes it less scary to sell Haaland, because if everyone is going to be captain in Palmer, then Haaland's year is going to be like 45, 50%.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of. So now imagine like somebody who's holding Haaland, who is not captaining Haaland, and you're matching his captain in Palmer, but you have Salah instead and another 3 million to play around with your squad. All I'm trying to say is you could make more gains actually if the person who's captaining Haaland is holding Haaland is not captaining Haaland.
Yeah.
But of course, the reverse is also true. Whenever he captains Haaland and he scores points, he will get those points and you won't.
Yeah.
So it's not, this is why it's not a no-brainer. But let me finish. Game week 15. This is the last week that you have.
Yeah.
Again, number 1 is Salah. Number 2 is Haaland. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
So Salah is away Everton.
And Crystal
Haaland
Palace
is
for
away
Haaland.
Crystal Palace. I think
Yeah.
neither are amazing, to be honest. Everyone is shit in game week 15. Who is Chelsea playing? Spurs.
Maybe. Yeah, that might be decent.
There is no clear captain, basically, this week. So is there 1 week? I've just shown you 6 weeks where you can say Haaland is the best captain by far.
No. If I was pushing it, I like the Brighton. Don't mind that fixture at all. I like this game week 10, Bournemouth. I think it's a good fixture. Yeah, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, no. Spurs is decent fixture. Then Crystal Palace. There's nothing that's really stand out. There isn't a Southampton or an Ipswich to make you think, this is danger territory where we're talking 3-4 goals. No, I agree with that. But there is still a couple of games there, Pras, like you said, where a brace is definitely viable. And if it's a captain brace, if that, there is that possibility there. But like you said, it's not just like for like that you're going to have a Salah and, like you said, a Trent or a Cunha. There's big difference. It's three players you need to judge it off, not just one player.
Agreed. So then we get to, that was my reason number 4.
Yeah.
So injuries, travel, fixture swing, captaincy. Let's go to reason number 5. Someone pointed out to me last night that there is a tweet going around that Salah is not going to be called up for the international break. Have you heard of this?
I've not seen anything on that, actually. Nothing in my Liverpool groups either.
I tweeted this morning, and some people actually shared the tweet. And again, it's in my article, the tweet. It's in Arabic, of course. You read Arabic?
Yeah, well, a bit bad.
So you can read the image?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then, the tweet basically says that he's not going to be called up for international duty because Egypt have already qualified for AFCON as number 1 in their group. And so he's not going to bother calling Salah.
That's good. That's a big positive.
It's a big positive because after the international break, who does Liverpool play? Southampton.
Yeah, that's huge.
So another plus, where if you're getting good minutes from Salah, imagine like you're getting, Salah didn't play this week. Like he played like 20 minutes in the last game.
Just brought him on. Yeah, just brought him on.
So imagine he gets good minutes against Villa, very good minutes against Southampton. That further adds to his appeal of the best cap in the next 3 weeks. So that's basically reason number 5. Reason number 6. Now this is a little bit of a repeat, but I have talked about Wissa, Cunha, Jimenez, Larson, Welbeck, João Pedro, Højlund, Watkins, Jackson, Isak. That's 10.
Yeah.
And I'm probably missing some. Jimenez, did I talk about Jimenez? Maybe. Yeah. So what I'm saying is there's enough strikers to fill your 3, where if you have Haaland, then it's not, so basically what you're saying is all these strikers are competing now with your Rodgers. And you're thinking these guys, a lot of them are on pens. They're getting 90 minutes. Rodgers has started to get some early subs, although he did miss the Carabao Cup completely.
Yeah, full rest, him and Watkins.
That difference is starting to make up, where you may want to just say, I want these 3 stellar strikers, and I'll load up on midfield instead. So I'll have Saka, Salah, Palmer, Bumo, and Rodgers or Semenyo, and then 3 very good elite strikers. Elite, when I say elite, means sub
in that
9
category.
million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But they're talisman for their teams. So plethora of strikers was my reason number 5.
But you still need to get. We spoke earlier on, Pras. Look at us, for example. We picked two of them, for example, in your team from a plethora of players, and you pick the two that are not scoring. So you still need
Yes.
that where, if you see what I mean, I'm trying to be devil's
It's
advocate
easier
again
to
here.
be right. It's easier to be right when you pick 3 instead of 2. But yes,
Without
you're
a
right.
doubt. But then you are removing Haaland, who, when City score, the team that's more than likely like Pep winning the league is he scores. So just that's a reminder that where the
There
other
is no
lot.
doubt. If it was a no-brainer, we would all be doing it.
Yeah, exactly. I was
So,
about to say, yeah.
actually, that was reason number 6, plethora of strikers. Reason number 7, Manchester United. So the thing with Man United is we have a new manager.
Yes.
It's a new team.
Well, has it been announced official yet, Pras? Not yet.
It'll be announced tomorrow. But I think a lot of people have, like now, it's like the athletic journalists and others are saying, okay, it's all agreed now.
It's basically nearly done.
He will join after the international break, which basically means he'll join after Leicester. So this has actually dented the appeal slightly, because I was thinking if he joins like after Chelsea, then you take Leicester, Ipswich, and Everton as the 3 games, and that's fantastic. But if he's joining after Leicester, then it slightly dampens this point where I think right now, fine, maybe you can go for a Bruno. But other than what I'm trying to say is basically if you're stuck with a rigid structure, which is basically the one I have right now, or the one I'm aspiring to get, there's no room for a Garnacho, for a Rashford, for a Haaland, for a Dalot. So what I'm trying to say is some gems will emerge. There's zero doubt that there will be 1 or 2 gems that will come from Man United.
From
it
the
could
United
be cheap
team.
gems. It could be Euro for 4.3 million. It could be, Garnacho. It could
be Mazraoui, Dalot. There's definitely options there.
Could be Bruno, could be Haaland. But if you are very inflexible with your Haaland and 2 other premiums, like a lot of people are trying to go to, you are on that Foden plus who else?
Palmer. Foden and Palmer, yeah.
So when you have 3 premiums and a lot of people will move Foden up to a Salah or a Saka, it becomes a little bit restrictive. So that's the other point, where if you sell Haaland, then there are suddenly funds that you can use to allocate. You can say, okay, I don't want Semenyo anymore. I want Rashford. I don't want, I don't want Jackson anymore. I want Haaland. So actually, they're the same price. But I don't want Raul Jimenez anymore. I want Haaland. So you see my point. There's value.
Yeah.
I don't want to go for Mykolenko. I want Dalot. So there is value to jump on assets when there's a new manager for a top 6 team, and we're still top 6. That could be another point. Very long way of saying that Haaland could maybe possibly be sold.
You know what? I really like that. I really like you've put a good case there, Praz. You put a really good case. I'm surprised you're only 51%, but that goes to show you how much of what an asset Haaland is for you to have all of those points as positives of why you could move away, and yet you're still only 51%. It tells you what you're dealing with here. A player that we saw at the start of the season. We knew obviously he was over, like he couldn't sustain that, but still, even lower than that, he's still a threat. You saw against, I think, Southampton, a reminder that was a hat trick realistically right there.
Yep.
I think your 51% would have been a bit lower maybe if that hat trick went in, but
yeah, maybe. But look, nothing has changed. They can still, if you sell Haaland, he could score 4 goals. Like for the other side of the cons that you're showing me, the biggest con is he could score 4 goals in any of these fixtures.
100%.
Will he score 4 goals in every one of these? Of course not. He will probably blank in 2, score a brace in 2, score a hat trick in 1, and blank in another one. But you just have to ride it, because that's
I think the biggest threat is actually the next 3 fixtures to that strategy. That's my personal opinion. I think when you reach Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, I think you can, those 2 fixtures, I mean, a lot can change after international break, but it makes me think they're not going to get battered. Where these teams, even with all of the what you said earlier on, Praz, regarding injuries, and he might start keep ball after 2-0. I don't know. Bournemouth.
But it's all away games. Like I told you, 4 away games in a row.
Yeah. Still.
I'm with you. I'll sleep on it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't have that. I did, funny enough, Praz, I've done a video on my channel and I looked at a team without Haaland, and it was gorgeous. Honestly, you looked at it and it's like what you just explained. It's good. You get all of the points that you said, but you gain the flexibility because the money, you can move it around. So anything that does pop up, you're ready to attack. Like you said, if Bruno Fernandes or Rosson, anyone, you can move to it. Where now, especially me, I'm so stuck. Minimum, you need 2-3 moves to be able to do anything. So it is very appealing. You can have a really good team. Basically, you get to keep Trent and a Gabriel, and have the big midfielders and have the striker. So yeah, I really like it. I'll be intrigued to see if you go this week or wait. So if you don't go this week, Praz, does it make it unlikely you do it at all, or is it the sort of thing you might still assess it next week?
My view is by Gameweek 16-17, Haaland will be under 50% vote. People will realize that with not great fixtures, 15.4 million is too much money.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing points all over the pitch.
I'm seeing it a lot already, Praz. I'm seeing it already. I'm seeing that momentum gaining. I think last week obviously helped, but I'm already seeing that momentum gaining. People are looking, they're looking at their teams with the options you can put, the team you can put together. And it is tempting. It really is. I suppose, yeah. I've got nothing else to go against that. It is a good move. Definitely viable. It's not one for me this week. I've only got one chance. So there's not, like you said, no chance for me. But maybe next week. But that's been the story of my season. I'm always a week or 2 weeks late with transfers, unfortunately.
No, man.
But
you're early on Raul. You were early on. Who did you get? Who got you points against a tough fixture?
Oh yeah, that was Pedro against Arsenal. Yeah. There was a couple of moves. Yeah, definitely, Price. A couple of moves have, but a lot of the other moves, unfortunately, haven't really worked out.
Sales has worked out.
Sales is one of the few moves, Praz, I look at in my team and I think I smile. I mean, albeit Henderson this week returned and there's a lot of alternatives. But apart from Flecken, of course, he never returns. But so lucky we dodged him. But yeah, that's definitely, I really like that, Press. You need to keep me updated on that to see if you're gonna.
I will. I'll probably make the moves tomorrow, unless Jimenez and Cunha rise tonight, in which case I'll have till Saturday morning to think about it, and we will have a think.
Yeah, I think that's everything here. Yeah, and then you look at this and you think Liverpool. Yeah. Cool. No worries, Praz. I think we've gone through. That was good. I really like the 7 reasons for that, and we will link that article in the description. So definitely check it out. That was a food for thought for me there, Praz. You've got me worried a little bit, yeah.
I mean, you should never be worried about owning Haaland.
Nah, not at all. Part of me, well, it was just last week, Praz. You were saying you was looking forward to owning a less owned Haaland. So it shows you how quickly we can change strategy, and we are.
I've been saying sell. To be honest, this is not reactionary because I've been saying sell Haaland from Game Week 10 onwards every week. More and more people will do it. Like, let's say this week I chicken out, and I'll use the word chicken out and don't sell Haaland. I'll still be thinking about it next week. I'll be thinking about it the week after. I'll be thinking about it, especially after Game Week 13 when he has Liverpool. So it's gonna happen. So people are just going to have to make their peace that it's going to happen. Like, unless you're so stubborn, Haaland's going to score 300 points, but other players will score 250, 260 points.
Agree. Yeah.
It's not like Haaland scoring 300 and other players are scoring 200.
No, but the only 2 variables with that, Praz, is you need to have those players that are scoring. So obviously you're picking from a pool where he's just one. So, and then also the captaincy we discussed earlier on, that one complicates it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people just leave it. He's a lazy one, where the other ones, you're going to pick Salah 1 week, Palmer scores 2. Salah comes off, Liverpool win 1-0, Slot takes him off. Because you've seen Slot, unlike Klopp, he doesn't run plays to the ground. So Salah is a minutes machine, especially what you said potentially with Egypt, but Slot doesn't care. I've noticed him taking plays. If Liverpool are comfortable, he'll rotate comfortably. He's got no issues with that. They don't like it, the players. You see Trent's face, Salah's face, they hate it, but he will do it. Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Cool.
All right, man. Let's leave it there. Good luck to everybody for Game Week 10. And we will be back same time next week. Maybe with Haaland or maybe without Haaland in our team.
All right. Good luck, everyone. See you next week.
Right. Bye.